Hello and welcome to PE turned RE. I'm Curtis, where we help everyday wealth builders build wealth through real estate. Today, I am lucky to be joined by a friend, Jamel. Man, what is going on?
Hey, not much, man. Hey, just another day to be great.
Another day, another dollar. I love it, man. So me and Jamel have met at multiple networking events and through it I've kind of built like a friendship. He's been asking me to get on the podcast. So because he's got some really cool things to talk about in the insurance realm. We typically think insurance and boring, but Jamel actually has a lot of cool products that can not only protect you but also make you money. So before we get into how to make the money, can you kind of give the people a nice little background of who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Jamel Southern. I'm born and raised Staten Island, New York. Avid Giants fan. Go Giants. Not a good year this year though, but I'm excited about next year coming though. Uh and like I say, I joined the military in 99, year after high school. Served for 21 years. I recently retired in April 1st, 2021. So I had a good long career in the military. So I'm a veteran. Um, Along with that, I have four kids. Um, One of them followed my footsteps and joining the military. And as I was transitioning out of the military, I was just trying to figure out, what I want to do after the military. Because once you hit that level, you're about to retire, it's like, what is my next? So I didn't really know what my next was. I kind of did what you did. I got in real estate. I was like, oh, cool, that's a new thing, real estate, wholesaling, the houses, stuff like that. It just seemed all cool and dandy. I'm watching Selling by Sunset, or like the TV shows
Oh yeah.
about being real estate, So I got into that. Got into real estate, got my realtor license. Uh, and uh, and it was cool at first, but it didn't help that I got my license. I'm new to Washington State. I had just moved from North
Mm.
Carolina to here. And as soon as I got my license, 2 days after that, government shut down.
Oh.
So, so perfect, right? So a new real estate agent, got my license. Oh, I ain't got nobody to sell because COVID said not today. So definitely some growing pains, some struggles when it came to that. But um, but after a year of getting into that, it took me 8 months to sell my first house. Then I'll never forget, it was Miss Deborah. And she was talking about life insurance, and I was like, I invested, you get your real estate license, you invest a lot of money in your license, fees and stuff like that. So no
Mhm.
one really talks to you about that, just like deep into it, So it's like, dang, it's like you got, so you paid a lot of money for it. So I invested in it. I wasn't thinking about it, until Ms. Deborah, she was like, hey, Jamal, have you thought about using your life insurance, using a life insurance license to leverage a real estate license? I was like, no. And I still wasn't hearing her, because I'm like, invested real estate. No, then she took it through, I guess we'll talk more about later, how you can leverage really your life insurance advice with being a real estate agent, to help families more versus just sell a home. After you sell them a home, then you probably won't hear from them until maybe you get a referral, or maybe they want to sell a house or maybe not, so you don't really hear from them again. So that also taught me how to be more part of their family, actually having a life insurance license. And that's how I got into life insurance. Then my first year in my organization, I became Rookie of the Year of my organization. And I just took what I learned in the military and I applied it into this business, which really made me successful my first year as being a life insurance broker.
Hmm. What was there like one skill or one thing that you were like, okay, I really took this away from the military and that's what's made you so successful in the insurance world?
I would say is so I took like a mission approach,
Mm.
like service, being a
Mhm.
service to people. I was a service to my team, to my company, to my country, so basically a service and just getting the mission accomplished. My new mission was helping families, helping people,
Mhm.
to create a legacy or to make sure that, when that person is no longer around, that the family don't struggle. And that was very important to me, so that, the discipline that I learned in the military, the structure I learned in the military,
Mhm.
staying on task, those are things that I took from the military into my business as well. And then it also
Mhm.
helped me growing a team as well, um, with that mindset.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of companies target the veterans because of those transferable
Mhm.
skills that you guys bring. And that's just awesome. Okay. So now you're this all-star rookie of the year insurance person, and I think I might change your contact name to that, the rookie of the year. But but so now you're killing it in the insurance world. So what is like insurance just life insurance? What you die and your money, then your family gets some money? Like what are some myths that you came to learn about?
That's a good question. What's some myths? Um, I know a lot of people think that it's a scam because you don't really get money paid, and
Mhm.
insurance company just pocket the money. It's not worth. I mean, it's just like, honestly, life insurance is just like car insurance. You know, we have it just in case.
Mhm.
Right? You don't know if you're going to get in an accident or something like that, or someone breaks into your car, breaks stuff. You don't know. So life insurance is like just in case insurance. I mean, you don't appreciate it until, oh snap, now I have to use it. I don't paid
Mhm.
into it. Now I have to use it. So you do get paid out. The money is tax free. What are some other myths? I don't know. Well, let me ask you, have you heard of some myths?
Yeah, so I actually had a question because I heard you talk about this and I've heard a couple other people as well, but I don't think people have really ever explained it. Is that you can actually use life insurance not just for when you die, but you can use it before you die. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things when I talk to people, about life insurance, I don't just say, I'm a life insurance, broker, I'm a life insurance agent. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you got a dime a dozen, that you know of, or you probably get them like random calls and say, "Hey, are you looking for term insurance, life insurance, whatever?" I got it. But when I talk to people, I just tell them that, I help, I teach. So me and I'm a veteran, so I talk to a lot of veterans, and I'm around a lot of like business owners. So I talk to business owners. Basically, what I say is I help veterans and business owners leverage life insurance as an asset.
Hmm.
Okay, because people don't really think of it as an asset. And but when it comes into play now, when you say asset, people probably automatically think that I'm talking about, cash value and stuff like that. Now that is a part of it, but that's not really what I'm going for when I say asset. So especially when it comes to business owners. So mainly I'm talking about like living benefits. So maybe, let's just say husband and wife. Husband, he's like the main breadwinner, or the wife is the main breadwinner, and one of them, they pass away. Now that income is gone. Where are you going to get that income from? Maybe you have a term policy, a permanent or term policy. So you got a term policy, you got like a half a mil in a term policy, already covered.
Hmm.
Got So you can use that to help, supplement bills, help with mortgage, stuff like that. But let's take it a step further. A lot of people prepare, most people prepare to die, but a lot of people don't prepare to live. Now, what I mean
Hmm.
by that is, say if you get sick, ill, or injured, all right? Say you're, I don't know, say you in an accident, you have a traumatic brain injury, or severe burns, and you're unable to work for 90 consecutive days or more, maybe longer? Or what if you can't do something simple as two living daily activities like go to the bathroom by yourself, or dress yourself, or move from point A to point B? But what if, I know this is going to hit a lot of people. What if you get cancer and you have to go to treatment and you're not able to work, and say whatever type of job you have, they don't cover you taking a lot of time off, and they probably don't have health insurance or anything like that. Where is that money going to come from? How is your family going to live? How are you going to keep the lights on? Something's always due. Rent's due, car due, somebody's baby's due, something that's always due, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is where living benefit is so powerful, especially if you have like a mortgage. See, again, you have a $500,000 in a term policy. You can
Mhm,
use that living benefit of that policy to help supplement that income, help with your
mhm,
daily living activities, to help with mortgage, car notes, business, or
mhm,
whatever. You can access that while you're alive, not when you pass away. You
mhm,
can actually use that. And a lot of what I've noticed when I talk to some clients, a lot of policies don't have living benefits,
mhm.
and then living benefits. So me as a broker, so I'm marketing for over, I think now about over like 16 different life insurance companies, and we also added a lot more companies to our brokerage, where I actually market for. So I'm like the Expedia Hotel.com of life insurance. You go on
Mhm,
Expedia, you're trying to find that flight, or
mhm,
Hotel.com, trying to find that particular hotel, and they go like different sites. But I like that. So that's me. I'll do the legwork. You don't have to do the legwork. I'll do the legwork. And
mhm.
I'm probably, hey, this is probably the best company for you based off of our conversation and your actual needs.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right. So
so
speaking of actual needs then, because there's kind of two types of people that tend to watch this channel and that I tend to kind of work with. There's the average Joe like home buyer
mhm,
or homeowner because they're trying to sell. And
okay,
then there's the more like investor or entrepreneur type.
okay.
Okay. So let's start with the normal homeowner. How
Mhm.
can they benefit through the power of insurance?
It's easy, mortgage protection. Like the scenario I
Mm,
just gave before, um, just figuring out, hey, what's their mortgage,
yeah.
what they're actually looking for. They're looking for like cover an entire mortgage, or looking for like half, or maybe like a few years worth of it. Just figuring out, hey, what actually works best for them, also
Mm,
budget wise as well. Again, I talk to them more about living benefit parts of that, because that's actually very powerful too, especially when you have a home and you trying to figure out, hey, where's the rest of the money come, where that money gonna come if something happens to you. So I'll
mhm,
talk more about mortgage protection when I actually come to actual homeowners. Then also with that, say, they want to turn that term policy into like a permanent policy. Now they went through the whole underwriting process, to figure out, if the company's going to insure them or not. Now they can just let that term policy expire, or they can turn that into a permanent policy. Now they can keep that policy for the rest of their life without even going through underwriting.
mm,
So say you got a 10-year term, you got a 10-year term policy for your mortgage, in like year six, something happens and you're unable to get insurance, for the
mm,
rest of your life because of what might have happened to you medically. Well, you already have a policy. The only thing you got to do is convert that policy into a permanent policy. You don't have to worry about life insurance no more, because you're covered. You're already
mm.
approved. So, and
Nice. Yeah,
that's the asset right there.
I think that mortgage protection is super vital for especially like maybe it's like single parents
Mhm.
or single income household, right? Because if you're the only income in the house and something happens to you, well, then how are your dependents or your family going to make it through? So I think that's huge.
Right. And then also I get a lot of people that have, well, I have a lot of savings. Okay, I mean, so you're going to deplete your savings, and you're going to end up with like zero or less than what you got, when you can have the life insurance can give you money tax free,
Hmm.
to help with whatever, and then you can just keep the savings for like something bigger or something, or a really rainy day. So,
Yeah, and kind of. I think that's on point because there's that picture that's right behind you there. It's kind of that foundation piece, right? That health, that disability part,
Mhm.
right? That's kind of perfect for that homeowner or first time home buyer. That's perfect,
Yeah.
right, for them. But now let's talk about like entrepreneurs or investors that want to get in that stability or that growth
Okay.
phase where they want to grow.
Got you. Got you. So, so, so when it comes to investors, from what I've seen, it's like, you know, a lot of investors, they have capital, they have money, and they like to store, put their capital in a place to where it's still actually going to make them money, right? So then we can talk about a different product. You got whole life, got IULs, just different products. Some people like whole life because it's the guaranteed death benefit and you get paid dividends, so you're still compounding like over time, so your money is growing over time. IUL, um, it's it's index universal life, which it mirrors the stock market. So it's not in the stock market, but it mirrors the stock market. And depending on the company, you can get 10% or 12% gain if the market does 10 or 12%.
Mm.
But some don't like because there's like a cap on an interest. Like you only
Oh,
get
okay.
10%. If the market makes 15% interest that day, you're only gonna get 10 because that product say the cap is like 10%,
Gotcha. Okay.
you know. But yeah, so like a whole life is more like, you want to like flip your money fast,
Hmm.
you can, pull out like if I put $1,000 in, you know, today, 30 days later, a whole life policy, I can access that money now if I want to.
Mm.
An insurance company get loans you the money and it just the money stays in there and just compounds over time. Now that's
Hmm.
just the base of it. Um, for this podcast right here though. Just
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah. I've even heard this now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've actually heard people that can take loans out against their policy
Mhm.
and then go use it to invest in maybe it's a house or flipping like you had talked about, and
Mhm.
then they pay themselves back the interest.
Yes, yes,
Oh.
yes, that's absolutely. Because you're not, I mean, because you can one or two ways. You can
Hmm.
just straight withdraw your money out of the account, so you don't have to worry about, interest, all that stuff, just take it out. Or again, you can just loan it and an insurance company will just pay you the money that you have accumulated.
Hmm.
They'll, excuse me, insurance company will pay you the money from what you accumulate in your account, basically. And
Okay.
the collateral is your death benefit. That's the collateral.
Mm.
So take I have 50K and I take
Hmm.
out 25K. You know, over time it'll grow. But if I take out 25K and I pass away and my death benefit it's 50K, then they're gonna minus 25K as
Oh,
a
okay.
collateral for my death benefit.
Oh, okay.
So that's basically how it works. So yeah, they're gonna loan you that cash out of your policy,
Hmm.
and the death benefit is gonna be held as collateral.
I see. Yeah, I was curious on how that worked because when you take a loan out against a house, the
Mhm.
collateral is that house, or maybe it's another property that you have. It's a very tangible thing. So I
Mhm.
was curious how people take loans out against their insurance policy, but the collateral is the death
Yeah,
policy itself. Gotcha.
yeah. So I'm trying where people thought, hey, your death benefit you can take from your death benefit. No, you're not really taking from your death benefit. You're actually, if when you have some cash value that's actually growing, and you have cash value take out,
Mhm.
then they'll loan you that. Your death benefit is the collateral.
Okay. And you had mentioned businesses. I wasn't sure if you meant that as like entrepreneurs or people that actually have businesses or setting up some insurance for their business, or can you just clarify that piece?
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's like um, it's more like two capital and living benefits.
Hmm.
It's more like emergency funds. Like say
Oh,
you can
okay.
use a whole life for like emergency funds. Because you
Mm.
don't know what happened if put money in and you're saving it. I mean, you could put it in a bank, but you're not really. you know, I mean, like Bank of America, interest rate for Bank of America are about 0.03%. All right.
Yeah.
So put it as say like Adam and Eve opened up a Bank of America account back in the day. They're probably seeing that the $1 is going to double into $2, right now, so yeah, so you have like high yield savings account, you have like
Mhm,
whole life, you can actually park that capital in there and you can use it for like emergency just in case you need it
mhm,
or if something was to happen to you, especially if you're putting, money into that policy,
mm.
for emergencies. That's why
Mhm.
I like whole life because whole life, um,
You good there? Kind of looks like you got frozen a little bit. Let's see if he hops off and comes back on.
holy crap.
Yeah, I think Jamel is just about to hop back on. But the thing that I like about him and the things that he's been doing well is that he can help multiple people.
Yeah, okay, I lost you there for a second though.
Yeah, you're back now. So while you were gone, I just was saying that the one thing that I like about you is that you can help normal people and folks that really want to make their money grow. Is that you're very diverse in the skill set that you have.
Right. Yes. And to be clear, it's not because I get this a lot. I'm like it is not an investment. I make it clear it's not an investment. This is not. If you want to talk 401k Roth, I always suggest, hey, hey, I have a financial advisor. It'd be awesome to talk more about that.
Mhm,
When we start delving around like that, I'll refer people to, hey, I do life insurance. Do I have to know the money game? Yes, I do, because I'm dealing with people's money though. But this is life insurance. And then I'm also going off of your what I like to do is like a FLS, financial life strategy.
mhm.
Like what are you working with? What do you have? What do you already have like in savings? So I'm determined, hey, this is how much insurance you actually need. Then based off what you have in savings, 401k and stuff like that, this is how much you actually need to be insured. So I take all that into
Mhm.
account, and then we come up with a plan.
Yeah, yeah, because it's
So
not like people are giving you the money to invest. You are setting up the vehicles for people
yes,
to invest their own money.
yeah, to do whatever they want. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that you have life insurance, that you can ensure if something that happened to you, you have
Yeah.
living benefits, or your family will be able to at least financially be okay for the next 5, 10, or 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
because we are trying to get people wealthy and your job is to help make sure that money and that wealth stays safe for them while they're still alive and to pass down. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. So think about it. What if okay, I have a life insurance on myself.
Hmm.
Okay. My kids, they take out a life insurance policy on me as well.
Mm.
So not only, they get, my death benefit, they also have insurance on myself. So now they don't get their own like, death benefit from me. And then they
Hmm.
teach their kids how to do that and so on and so on. I mean, if
Mm.
everybody done that, especially if like from like birth for like $5 or $10, five let's say like $5, and you have that insurance for life.
Hmm.
I mean, just think about it. We're talking about generational wealth. That's really the cheat code to generational wealth. You know,
Yeah,
to just have that mindset.
I think some people get weird about it. They're like, I don't want to put a life insurance policy on my kid because some people think that's weird. But would you ever recommend that?
Things happen. You don't. No one has a crystal ball.
Hmm.
No one knows, and it's an uncomfortable subject to have. Even with elderly people, it's a difficult
Hmm.
subject to have. You know, Death don't care how old you are.
Mm.
Accidents don't care how old you are. You know, if that time happens, that time happens. You don't know if you, like 1 year old or you're freaking, 89.
Hmm.
Nobody knows that. So that's why you prepare now, because you don't know what the future may hold. I might walk out of here, walk downstairs, trip and break my neck.
Mm.
I don't plan for it. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
So,
So stuff happens, so we want to make sure that people are covered.
mhm.
So, Jamel, how do people get in touch with you to make sure that they are good and that their loved ones are cared for?
Oh man, so I mean, you can hit me up on Instagram, Jamel the broker on Instagram. That's my Instagram handle. My phone number, I don't mind put my phone number out on here, because it's actually on my page too, 360-890-2760. And heck, they can get in touch with me through you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always available.
Cool, yeah. And I also put Jamel's info in the show notes. That way, if you missed it, then you can always go back to it. Feel free to reach out to me as well. Until next episode, and thank you for watching.